The Honourable Scott Farlow.
Mr Deputy President, I rise tonight to address extremism and the need for us as both a parliament and a society to address it head-on, rather than burying our heads in the sand. What is at stake is no less than our liberal democratic society. Two events in recent days have brought this threat to the forefront of our consciousness. Firstly, the murder of UK Labor MP Jo Cox. Ms Cox was killed by an extremist who allegedly shouted "Britain first" when he stabbed and shot Ms Cox, and a man who declared his name in court as "Death to Traitors, Freedom for Britain." Jo Cox was simply killed for having an opinion. The stance she took, and because of her position as a democratically elected representative in the British Parliament. The perpetrator, Thomas Mair, was an extremist, a far-right extremist. He is reported to have links with the neo-Nazi National Alliance, attended meetings of white supremacists, and purchased neo-Nazi books and other materials. This act was a fundamental attack on our democracy and the respect that should underscore our debate and discourse. Whilst all of us around this chamber often disagree, despite some churlish antics, debate in this chamber, in our system, is usually marked by respect and courtesy. Violence has never been and can never be a characteristic of our Westminster political system. The other event is the heinous massacre of 49 people at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, in the injuries of 50 more, which was a barbarous act. It was a crime against the gay community, it was a crime against the United States, it was a crime against humanity, and it was a crime that threatened the very tenets of our civil society. It was an act that was perpetrated by someone who phoned police to pledge his allegiance to Islamic State. It was an attack that Islamic State have claimed responsibility for. Omar Bateen became a person of interest to the FBI in May 2013, after claiming connections to Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah. And he was investigated in 2014 on suspicion of connection to American suicide bomber Mohammed Abu Salah. Islamic State hate the gay community, but they're not alone. They also hate women, Christians, Jews, moderate Muslims, in fact, any Muslims, Sufi, Ahmadiyyan, Shiite, even Sunni, who don't see the world exactly as they do. That seems to me to make a pretty substantive coalition. Those groups I just listed are also largely reflective of groups that are targeted and hated by extreme neo-Nazi groups as well. It has been suggested that both of these attacks are lone wolf and should be dissociated from the groups and ideologies that they espouse. While these attacks may be the work of individuals, they are still motivated and underpinned by extremist ideologies, which are intolerant and violent. It is imperative for all of us to call out extreme ideologies from all sides of the spectrum, because it is only then that we can have reasoned and respectful debate without resorting to a cloak of political correctness, where nobody can say anything and what we hold dear in our society is eroded away. We need to confront these ideologies and show that they are not welcome. The same can be said for the fundamentalist Christian ideology espoused by Robert Louis Deere in his attack on the Planned Parenthood clinic in Colorado Springs last November, and the stabbing at the Jerusalem Gay Pride Parade last July, perpetrated by Yishai Shizlel, who was captive to an extreme ideology of ultra-Orthodox Judaism. I'm reminded of the comments of my friend Mohammed Rahman, who wrote in Menzies House after the shocking terrorist attack on Paris last year the following: when commentators on the left argue that we should essentially turn a blind eye to extremism through the same old adage that all religions have problems with fundamentalists, it serves no benefit to either the Muslim community or the Western world. It allows this problem to fester in the grassroots as tensions ferment and communities become more isolated. Nor do the commentators of the right who feel it reasonable to stir up tensions in an already volatile environment. All of us need to be vigilant to expose and denounce extremism. Our society is built on the tenet of live and let live. In 2002, I first had the pleasure of meeting now Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull when he addressed an ALSF activist conference. Mr Turnbull's words will always be clear in my memory. Our liberal democratic society cannot tolerate the intolerant. These words apply equally to all extreme ideologies, in conflict with our liberal democracy, and we need to confront them head on. Those who are intolerant of our diverse, pluralist society have no place in it, no matter where they hail from, their background, ethnicity, religion or politics. It is incumbent on all of us to call them out, right or left, Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist or Hindu. The future of our pluralist society depends on it. As one of my favourite writers, Clive James, wrote in 2010, "I'm not against Islam, but Islamic extremism. I regard Islamic extremism as the biggest threat to the Islam that Islam faces. Islam, like most religions, is well supplied with textual incitement to violence that nobody takes seriously except the violent, who are looking for an excuse. In other words, the menace that lies in extremism, not in the religion. It's incumbent on us all, Mr Deputy President, to rise and call that out. Our future depends on it.